At 36, Ethan finally understood the quiet lie he had been living. He'd always believed that one day, someone would give him permission to become the person he wanted to be. Permission to chase his dream. Permission to change. Permission to matter. And so, he waited. To the outside world, Ethan's life looked stable. He had a steady office job, a small apartment, and a routine so predictable it felt safe. Every morning, he woke up at the same time, rode the same bus, sat at the same desk, and stared at the same screen. His coworkers would talk about promotions and weekend plans, but inside, Ethan felt like time was slipping through his fingers, day by day, completely unnoticed. When he was younger, Ethan dreamed of being a writer, not a famous one, just an honest one. He wanted to tell stories that made people feel seen and understood. But then, life happened. Bills arrived. Responsibilities grew. Fear settled in. So he told himself, later, when I have more time. Later, when I feel more confident. Later, when someone finally believes in me. And just like that, the years passed by. One evening, after another long day, Ethan stopped at a cafe to escape the rain. He sat near the window, watching people rush by with their umbrellas, their faces looking tired. At the table next to him, a young woman was typing furiously on her laptop. She looked exhausted, but she also looked incredibly alive. Curious, Ethan glanced over at her screen. It was a story. It was raw, imperfect, but so real. He didn't mean to stare, but she noticed him looking. Instead of getting annoyed, she just smiled. Bad habit, she said. I write everywhere I go, even when I'm scared it's terrible. Ethan laughed softly. You're brave, he told her. She shook her head. No, I'm just tired of waiting. Those words landed heavier than she could have ever known. Tired of waiting. That night, Ethan went home and opened an old, dusty folder on his computer. One he hadn't touched in years. Inside were unfinished stories, half-written ideas, and abandoned beginnings. He read through them slowly, not with judgment, but with a deep sense of regret. I never failed, he realized. I just never tried long enough. The next morning, something inside him shifted. There were no fireworks, no dramatic moment. It was just a quiet decision. Ethan woke up 30 minutes earlier than usual and wrote one single paragraph before heading to work. It felt awkward and messy, but it also felt real. The next day, he wrote another. Some days, he wrote badly. Some days, he wrote nothing worth saving. But he showed up anyway. No permission, no validation from anyone else. Just pure, consistent effort. Weeks turned into months. Writing became a part of his identity, not just a distant dream, but a daily habit. He joined a small online group and started sharing his work. He received criticism. He felt that familiar fear creeping in. But he continued anyway. Then one evening, an email arrived. A short story he had submitted months earlier had been accepted by a small online publication. It wasn't fame. It wasn't fortune. It was just 3 simple words at the end of the message. We believe in this. Ethan stared at the screen, tears blurring his vision, not because someone else believed in him, but because he had finally started to believe in himself. That was the real victory. Ethan didn't quit his job overnight. His life didn't magically transform, but he was no longer waiting. And that, in the end, changed everything. Because the truth is this: no one is coming to give you permission. Not to dream. Not to begin. Not to become the person you were meant to be. The life you want is waiting for one thing, and one thing only: your decision to start. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more content just like this. See you next time.